Well, let's start with this. Republicans demanding answers on who leaked the Supreme Court opinion draft that shows the High Court may overturn Roe v. Wade. Democratic lawmakers also reacting, in some cases with intense anger, to the decision. How will this impact the upcoming midterms? Let's check in with Congressional Correspondent Kilmeny Duchardt live on Capitol Hill. Kilmeny?
Good afternoon to both of you. Chief Justice John Roberts has tasked the Supreme Court Marshal with looking into how that draft opinion made its way from the High Court and into the hands of Politico publishers. And this is going to be an enormous challenge because there is not a precedent for conducting a probe like this, and past attempts have really failed to yield meaningful results. That is why Republicans are calling on the Department of Justice as well as the FBI to look into the source.
This lawless action should be investigated and punished to the fullest extent possible. The fullest extent possible. I'm certain the Chief Justice will seek to get to the bottom of this. If a crime was committed, the Department of Justice must pursue it completely.
Republican House Oversight members sent a letter to the Attorney General Merrick Garland calling on him to investigate, saying the circumstances of the leak indicate the draft opinion's release was not accidental but deliberate and calculated. It stands to reason it was intended to affect either the ultimate outcome of the case or the public's reaction to it. And now, for more than 24 hours, you have pro and anti-abortion activists that have been protesting outside the Supreme Court in an unprecedented pressure campaign to influence the court's decision. Democratic lawmakers often making appearances and promising to codify Roe into law.
Well, I am here because I am angry, and I am here because the United States Congress can change all of this.
Abortion is now shaping up to be a key defining issue for Democrats 188 days before the November midterm elections, while Republicans are narrowly focused on finding the source of this leak, saying that this is eroding democratic institutions.
Thanks, Kilmeny.
All right, joining us now to discuss, Executive Director for Heritage Action for America, Jessica Anderson. Jessica, you know, we just heard Senator Warren say Congress can change all of this, which is kind of interesting considering you have Joe Manchin from a very conservative state, West Virginia, which went for President Trump, I think 69, 70%, something like that. So the idea that Congress can just change this or will change this, is that out of touch?
Well, thanks for having me today. Congress is certainly going to project what they would like to see done on the fights for abortion versus protecting life on both sides. On the conservative right, you have members in the Senate and the House advocating that life begins at conception. And on the left, you have Bernie Sanders advocating for abortion on demand. And that's the bill that Senator Warren in that clip that you showed is referencing. Now, whether or not they can get that done this year, Bob, I think that's really unknown. The filibuster obviously stands in their way. Right, Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema still support the filibuster. And so the pathway is not very clear for congressional leaders today.
Interesting. Jessica, what I'm thinking is, this isn't really a surprise for them. The outrage we have seen by Schumer yesterday, and of course Warren in that clip, it is as if they had no idea this was coming. If they were that concerned and that concerned about it, wouldn't we have seen them taking more steps well in advance?
Well, it's interesting that you point that out, because the rhetoric that was on full display all day yesterday, even these claims that overturning Roe would mean that we're not going to allow interracial marriage across the country. This is just insane. It's fundamentally untrue. And the heightened rhetoric, I think, actually shows where Democrats are, that they're unwilling to recognize that the country's mood and opinion to support life has changed today than it did 50 years ago because the science has changed. We know more about the fetus. We know more about the fact that life begins at conception, that heartbeat is at 6 weeks, that pain is felt at 15 weeks. We know all of that now. We maybe didn't know as much of it 40, 50 years ago. And so the heightened rhetoric just is completely out of touch with where Americans are. It's out of touch where states are, governors. And so this shift that you're seeing, the left goes towards that spicy, YouTube clip that they think will attract their voters, but it's falling flat, I think, on the majority of Americans across the country.
Yeah, and in fact, we're talking about this instead of interest rates going up, inflation going up, the border, people coming across. But I did want to point this out. You had lawmakers reacting on the left to this, what appears to be overturning Roe v. Wade, what it would mean that other court precedents, including interracial marriage, could also be canceled. For instance, Congressman Eric Swalwell tweeting that Republicans won't stop with banning abortion. They want to ban interracial marriage. Do you want to save that? Well, then you should probably vote. And Senator Jim Ananich tweeting, this is not a singular issue, but a turning back of what generations of Americans recognize as our rights. This is a step toward the undoing of our country as we know it by the same people condone child marriage, say lay back and enjoy rape, and want to outlaw interracial marriage. Your thoughts, Jessica?
Look, there is not a single issue that Democrats can run on this November. They can't run on inflation, the economy, jobs, parental rights, crime, safety, immigration. So now they believe that they have this huge opportunity to radicalize the fight around abortion and saving life and bring in all of these other very extreme issues that have nothing to do with it. I mean, the fact that these Democrat leaders would even suggest that a Supreme Court that actually has a biracial marriage on the court, of course, I'm talking about the Thomases, is just completely insane. It's another example of rhetoric that has gone way too far. They are overreaching. The American people know this. We see through this. And what we want to see instead is that the Supreme Court can rule without intimidation, without force, and without being weaponized, and return the letter of the law when it comes to protecting life back to the states. And then you will have states, both governors and state lawmakers, that are closer to the American people, and then will be able to protect life like we've seen with the 26 states already around the country that have done so. More governors even today calling for special sessions like Governor McMaster, Governor Noem. So I think there's a lot of attention that's going to move to the state capitals away from this fierce rhetoric of the extreme left.
Interesting. And of course, New Washington Post and ABC, new polling, check this out, shows a majority of voters support upholding Roe v. Wade, 54%. Also, voters were asked, should we make it easier or more difficult to get an abortion, or, just leave this law alone? Check it out. 36% say easier, 25% harder, 36% again say leave the law alone. I feel like there are so many nuances to this issue, some scientific, as you brought up as well. But even in terms of the realization that if Roe v. Wade is overturned, that does not mean that it will be impossible for women to get abortions in this country. So lots of nuances here, Jessica. We appreciate your perspective. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.